Good morning, Birmingham Unitarian Church.
Good morning.
Welcome to all, whether you're visiting us for the first time or have been here many times before. Whether you're joining us here in the sanctuary or remotely via Zoom or watching this recording later, it's good to connect with you. Children will be with us in the sanctuary today for a story before heading to their activities of the morning. Care is available in our nursery on the lower level for infants and children through age 5. By greeting our virtual neighbors, we build a bridge between online and in-person participants. First, we'll project on our screen the image of folks who are with us on Zoom, and if you're comfortable doing so, please turn on your camera and give us a wave. Now, we who are gathered here in the sanctuary are invited to turn, face the camera in the back, and give the folks on Zoom a wave. Coffee and conversation will follow the service in Hoda's Hall, which is located to the left after you exit the sanctuary. Our newcomer table is a place where visitors and newcomers can meet and chat with members of the congregation and with each other. All are encouraged to drop by. Just look for the colorful sign. There will also be an opportunity for virtual coffee hour on Zoom after the service ends. Whenever, however, and wherever we connect with BUC, we are building this beloved community.
Today's chalice lighting words are New Light by Charles Howe, adapted from the words of Napoleon Lovely. We light this chalice to affirm that new light is ever waiting to break through to enlighten our ways, that new truth is waiting to break through to illumine our minds, and that new love is ever waiting to break through to warm our hearts. May we be open to this light and to the rich possibilities that it brings us.
We invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing, "'Tis a Gift to be Simple." We whose journeys are always beginning, we whose mission always awaits us, we whose visions are bent on loving, we gather together here. We gather as a community drawn together out of common need, each toting our own carpet bag of treasures and dreams. We gather together seeking meaning, yearning to understand life in all its dimensions, as it challenges and expands, as it burdens, as it consoles and heals. We gather together with questions, the kinds of questions that provoke us to the path of action. We gather with hope, the kind of hope that pulses on through uncertainty. We gather with tenderness, the kind of tenderness that can only be born from knowing human capabilities as well as human imperfections. We gather wanting certainty and having none, but we are wakeful to possibilities as we seek discernment and gentle judgment. We gather then unbounded.
Our story for today is another wonderful story by Peter H. Reynolds and was introduced to me by Reverend Connie, and this is The North Star. A sweet breeze met the boy as he awoke to his journey. He traveled on all fours for quite some time, and he grew, and he paused. One day, he had the urge to stand, to walk. It made his journey easier. He could run, too, but for the most part, he walked. He wasn't afraid of much. He wandered the fields, exploring, sometimes stopping, sometimes going happily in circles, sometimes dancing, sometimes napping. One day, the boy saw an oak leaf drift and land on the water. He wondered how the leaf managed to float, the way the stars seemed to float in the night sky. A spray of sand interrupted his thoughts as a rabbit ran by. "Where are you going in such a hurry?" asked the boy. But the rabbit shot out of sight, disappearing into a path the boy had never noticed before. The boy left the floating leaf and wandered toward the path. There he saw a cat. The cat purred gently. "Where did the rabbit go in such a hurry?" the boy asked the cat. "He was in a rush to start his journey. It's time for you to start your journey, too." "Oh, but I have been on a journey," the boy cried. "I've seen many wonderful things. Some I understand and some I don't, like how that leaf floats on water." "Well, that's fascinating," said the cat, "but I'd hate for you to be late. You don't want to be left behind." "Behind? Who's ahead of me?" "You wouldn't believe how many. You know, you're not the only one on this journey. Plenty ahead of you, lots to follow." The boy began walking down the path. It stretched out far ahead of him. Signs kept pointing him along the way. Some parts of the journey were easy, and some were very difficult. Although he was following the well-worn path, he had a growing feeling that he was lost. The forest seemed to be growing thicker. The soil was wet and muddy, making every step a struggle. Clouds had rolled in overhead, and the darkness closed in around him. He noticed an oak leaf drift from the sky. It sailed with ease. It swirled on the breeze and was carried deep into the forest. The leaf disappeared behind a grove of trees. The boy found the leaf floating on a pond in a peaceful clearing, like a delicate boat on a dreamy voyage. His thoughts were interrupted by a voice. "Oh, there you are. I was worried," said the cat. "Don't wander off like that. Now hurry. You're falling behind." So the boy ran and ran and ran, and as he ran, he noticed the forest getting darker and thicker. The muddy ground became covered with water. He could no longer see the path. He sloshed through the swamp until he came to a clearing in the forest. There he saw a bird. "You look lost," the bird said. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm lost, the boy replied. I hadn't really thought about it. Hadn't thought about it, said the bird. You must have some idea of where you're going, yes? Well, I've been following the path. It seems as if many people have taken it before me, and there have been many signs along the way. And a very helpful cat guided me back to the path when I started to wander. The crickets fell silent as the bird asked, "But where do you want to be going?" "I'm not sure," said the boy as he looked around at the dark and tangled swamp. "But I do know that this isn't where I want to be. I guess I am lost." The bird said, "Ask yourself where it is you want to go, and then follow the signs you already know." "What signs? Where are they?" But the bird flew away off into the cloudy night sky. The boy looked up into the sky, something he had not done in a very, very long time. He tried desperately to see where the bird had gone, and as he did, the clouds seemed to melt, and there above him was a star, a very bright star. The boy stared at the star and felt a pang in his heart, a tingling in his spine, a whisper in his ear. The boy began to walk toward the star, and as he did, he noticed many other stars stretched out above him like a great big map. They had been there all along, waiting for him. He stopped and rested a moment, savoring his guiding stars. "What are you staring at?" croaked a voice behind him. "What's up there? What's so interesting?" The boy waded closer and answered, "Stars. I'm looking at the stars." "What stars?" asked the frog. "I see a dark sky and mist and low green clouds." "You don't see them?" the boy asked. "They're helping guide me out of the swamp. Would you like to come with me?" "No, thank you," the frog replied. "I'm quite home here in the bog. I swam here as a tadpole and grew up here, and here I will stay." The boy realized at that moment that everyone has a different journey, different signs, and different stars, their own constellations. The boy left the frog, who croaked a farewell, "Good luck on your journey." As he ventured beyond the swampy forest, the boy heard a cry. It was the rabbit, who had been in such a hurry earlier, looking tired and hungry. He was stranded on a limb in the middle of the rushing river. The boy waded out, but realized that the river was too deep. The rabbit was trapped. Then the boy saw an oak leaf drift by, and it gave him an idea. The boy fashioned a boat out of swamp grass and twigs and rescued the rabbit. The boy smiled, having helped make the rabbit's journey easier. The boy looked up and noticed that the star had become even brighter. He followed the star, and as he did, the muddy ground grew drier, then grassy, then soft and sandy. Finally, he stopped atop a sand dune. There below him was a beach and a boat. From the boat, the boy looked out toward the horizon. The star glowed steadily, reminding him that he still had a long journey ahead. But it was his own journey, his very own wonderful journey. The beginning. At this time, we'll have our children and youth meet us in the pavilion as we head off to our activities.
For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace.
The mission of Birmingham Unitarian Church includes action towards positive change in the world. One way we live out our mission is by giving half of our weekly offering to a nonprofit organization that shares our values and addresses needs in the community. To suggest a nonprofit for this donation, please check the BUC website under Justice to find the application form. Our shared offering recipient from June 7 through July 12th is the Ruth Ellis Center, dedicated to supporting LGBTQ+ youth with tailored programs and services. From housing and healthcare to education and advocacy, they provide a safe space where every young person can thrive. As they've continued to grow and evolve, so have the ways to help the young people. Every day, they work toward their vision through a growing number of services and programs that support the LGBTQ+ youth and young adult community. They are known for their unique approach, providing outreach and safety net services, skill-building workshops, and HIV prevention programs. The ushers will now receive this morning's offering, given and received in a spirit of generosity and gratitude, dedicated to the good work of the Ruth Ellis Center and our congregation.
Map of the Journey in Progress by Victoria Safford. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here's a place where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that, and unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here's where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed. And I survived that also. I live to tell the tale. This is the place where I said no, more loudly than I'd thought I ever could, and everybody stared, but I said no loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said, and those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling. And over me, they had no power anymore. Here's a time and here's another when I laid down my fear and walked right into it, right up to my neck into that roiling water. Here's where cruelty taught me something, and here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion and knew it for the miracle it was, the requirement it is. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I was unaccustomed. It cycled round, and as best I could, I sent it back on out, passed the gift along. The circular motion around and around has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen. I don't know yet what to learn there. On this sight, I was outraged, and the rage sustains me still. It clarifies my seeing. And here's where something caught me. A warm breeze in late winter, birdsong in late summer. Here's where I was told that something was wrong with my eyes, that I see the world strangely. And here's where I said, yes, I know. I walk in beauty. Here is where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. Here is where, as if by surgeon's knife, my heart was opened up. And here, and here, and here, and here. These are the landmarks of conversion. We hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows. Ed Sharples will be moving to Naperville in 2 weeks to be near his son Matt and family. We're planning a bon voyage party for Ed on July 5th, which will be an opportunity to say farewell, share a memory, and express appreciation. Watch for an email blast on Tuesday with details. There's a note here that says the flowers on the chancel are from BUC and gratefulness and love for Reverend Connie's ministry with us. And I'll say gratefulness and love back at ya. So my goal this morning, by the way, is to not cry the whole time. Not that I won't cry the whole time, but just not to cry the whole time. The joys and sorrows of the congregation that are shared with us this morning are these. From Betty Moen. Brian Johnson passed on July 21st. His life was one fulfilled with loving family, contributions to industry, and service to justice and environmental service. We grieve our loss. From Kim Worth and Scott Farrar. With joy, we share the engagement of our son, Nathan Farrar, to Lindsay, is it McClay or Maclay? They met at the University of Pittsburgh and currently live in Chicago. Nathan grew up in this church from his dedication by Reverend Gallagher to his rope trip with Kimmery Campbell Fox. We appreciate our faith community. We remember those experiencing losses and those facing health challenges. We pray in whatever way we pray for all those affected by war, by hatred and violence. We pray for peace. Even when the cares of the world weigh on us, may we find joy in our connections with each other and in the pleasures that life holds. Let us take care of one another and ourselves in all the ways we can. Let us make this a safe and welcoming place for all. And on this fourth Sunday of the month, we light candles of remembrance. If you wish to do so, please come forward now to silently light a candle or light a candle wherever you are, in remembrance of a sorrow that weighs on you or of a joy that lifts your heart. as we hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows, whether spoken or unspoken, let's take a moment to be quiet together. Please join in singing Find a Stillness.
Find the stillness, hold the stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true
You Might by Julian Jamaica. Julian Jamaica, my apologies. You might right this second be wrong about something. You might, despite all your intelligences, make a mistake today. Allow the realization to, bracing as morning, awaken you to insight, orient you, like a single light bulb hanging in the dark, to the possibility of the presence of wisdom. Allow that you are not alone. Remember, you are strong. You can reach out, and your folk will reach back. You are more, so much more, than your worst moment. And so, as the cha-cha is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, as many good things take a long time, take more time, take more than one try. We pick up each other and we dust each other off. Miscalculations and oversights, errors and plumb bad ideas. Part of the story, part of our development. Let mistakes be data. Let them remind you that perfection isn't part of being glorious. You can arrive, mistakes in hand, credentials to the temple of your life, and receive the gift of being propelled along your journey.
Is this the valley of love and delight? I think it is. What do you think? For me, this has felt like the right place to be for these 2 years that we have been together. Today, as I prepare to hit the road, I'm offering some thoughts about life journeys and the journeys that have brought us together as we prepare to go our own ways. I learned to drive at the advanced age of 29 when my son Kevin was a baby in his car seat in the back seat of the car, and my spouse John, who's been with me for a long time, my spouse John was my instructor. Actually, 49 years. We celebrated 49 years this week. I took the permit test, and after driving around vacant parking lots many, many times, I felt ready to venture onto an actual road. Then, for many, many weeks, our pattern was that John would drive us far enough out from the city that the traffic was relatively light. And then I would take the wheel and practice driving. I would drive and drive some more, getting more and more comfortable with the whole idea of controlling what was actually a pretty small car, but felt like a massive machine. When I was driving, if I did something I shouldn't, maybe following another car too closely or stopping too far into an intersection, John would tense a little and raise a finger, which I think was an involuntary reaction, sort of a twitch, sort of like, just a little twitch, just a little raised finger. I think it was an involuntary reaction that I could see out of the corner of my eye. And then I'd have to figure out what I did wrong and fix it. I learned to drive in the suburbs of Chicago, where the roads are mostly flat and straight. When there's a curve ahead, there's a road sign with a squiggly graphic to warn of what's coming. When I would see one of those signs, as I was driving, I felt myself immediately wanting to start turning the wheel in anticipation of the curve ahead. It took me a while to fully grasp, to figure out that it doesn't work to steer into the curve until you're actually in the curve. It helps to know that there are curves ahead and to be ready, but you can't actually steer into the curve until you're in it. It's not quite time yet for the closing hymn, but I'll soon invite you to join in singing Sing Out Praises for the Journey, which is one of my favorite hymns. As the lyrics remind us, we face futures yet unknown. Sometimes there are bumps in the road or potholes. We'll do what we can to be ready. We'll set our course and recalculate as necessary as the road unfolds. I have found this adaptation of an old folktale to be a useful reminder about my own journey as an itinerant minister, and I think it has applications for other journeys as well. There once was a town where an old wise person sat by the side of the road outside the city gates. A traveler came down the road and said to the wise one, "I'm looking for a new place to live. Can you tell me what things are like in this town?" And the wise one said to the traveler, "First, tell me what things are like in the town you come from." The traveler replied, "The people there are rude, unhelpful, unfriendly, and generally unpleasant to be around." And the wise one replied, "I think you'll find people here to be pretty much the same." And the traveler continued down the road. Then another traveler came down the road and said to the old wise person, "I'm looking for a new place to live. Can you tell me what things are like in this town?" And the wise one said to the traveler, "First, tell me what things are like in the town that you come from." And the traveler replied, "The people there are kind, helpful, friendly, and generally pleasant to be around." And the wise one replied, I think you'll find people here to be much the same. And the traveler stayed for a time. In my ministry and in my life, I hope to be like that second traveler. I've stayed with you for a time, and pretty soon it will be time for me to head down the road. I'm pretty sure that the people where I'm going will be kind, helpful, and friendly, kind of like you. And yet, of course, the people there won't be quite like you, but then who is? This may not be the valley of love and delight, but for me, it's been a valley of love and delight. On one of my first Sundays with you, we acknowledged out loud that our time together would be limited and that it would be sufficient for the work that we would do together. Not necessarily that we would get everything done, but that it would be enough. As you may have heard me say, I believe that one of the most important things that has been accomplished during this transitional time is that you have raised your expectations of what you can do and how a minister can work with you to help you be who you are, who you want to be, and to do what you want to do as a congregation. When my family took long car trips when my children were young, they would often ask, "Are we there yet?" And I often responded, "Yes, we are." Of course, we hadn't necessarily arrived at our destination, but there we were. Are we there yet? Of course, we are. We've been there all along. The journey is the destination, after all. We're here where we are. We've been on a journey together over these 2 years. We knew there would be curves ahead and even bumps in the road on this journey, as there always are in life. But we didn't know just what we would face. We have faced challenges, and we will face new challenges on our journeys. The future is still unknown, as it always is. It's been an honor to travel with you for this time together. Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn 295, Sing Out Praises for the Journey.
Sing God's praises for the journey, pilgrims we who carry on, searchers in the soul's deep yearnings, like
As we extinguish our chalice to the words of Connected Points of Brightness by Irene Glacé. As we extinguish our chalice, may we remember the flame of life in all things, the bright center of our planet, the star that lights our world, and the way those points of brightness connect. Within us and within all things, may we carry the light, may we share it freely, may we find it everywhere.
Will you say the words of benediction with me? May we live our lives fully and creatively so that we may be a blessing to ourselves, to each other, and to all those whose lives we touch. Please remain seated during the postlude for a moment of contemplation before we greet each other.